Hey, I'm gonna make a controversial recording here, and it's gonna piss a lot of people off. People might even call the fucking police, but I don't care. If you hear me out, though, it's like, I mean, like I say, you'll understand, but you won't understand because you're not me, you're not in my situation. You know, most people live their life in such a way where, it's like they don't put themselves in situations where they could get emotionally hurt. Really, people don't really, you know what I mean. People don't really show them true their true selves, and they hold back their whole life, and um they don't make themselves vulnerable. You know, people are afraid of it, and people, it's kind of pathetic and sad, but that's just how people are. I mean, um, it's kind of it's very guarded. Smart, whatever. But um, if you've ever truly made yourself vulnerable though in a situation, like really fucking vulnerable, and people take advantage of you, you've got to understand you don't treat a person like that. And what you're gonna find, this is the next thing I'm gonna say, which is controversial. If people treat you like that, you've put yourself in a very fucking vulnerable position. It hurts a fucking lot. You know, people make themselves vulnerable to an extent, but not really. They don't show them true selves. I'm talking really fucking vulnerable. You know, you just feel incredibly vulnerable. If you haven't ever felt incredibly vulnerable, you're not going to understand this. Or maybe it happened in your life, and you kind of like you never want to do that again because like you might have got bullied and abused, taken advantage of. So you kind of learned to not do that anymore. Um, but anyway, um, but you know, if you okay, so if you've done that, um, yeah, it really fucking hurts when people fucking bully you, and this is what's happened to me. I made myself incredibly fucking vulnerable, and someone just fucking took advantage of me. I'm not gonna say exactly what happened, um, but it took advantage of me, and it really fucking hurt. And like the next thing is what's controversial. I don't know, I keep saying that, whatever. Um, okay. Um, yeah, they took advantage of me, and I have every fucking right. He says this is illegal, but it shouldn't be illegal. I have every fucking right. If I ever saw that person, I have every fucking right to cut their fucking tits off and fucking beat the shit out of them and fucking abuse them verbally and just be a horrible fucking person to them. Just do everything, like the worst fucking things you can possibly imagine. That should be legal. I should be legally allowed to do that shit because of what they fucking did to me. You know? You want to talk about fucking morals of like, oh no, like fucking, um, you've got to be, love is the answer. And I understand, where you're coming from, like on a moral basis, but this is on a basis of like just talking about the fact that you're a fucking human being, you know, and someone fucking abuses you like that, they take advantage of you like that, you're dealing with a human being. Fuck what's right, you know. This is what's controversial because it's like fuck what's right. Love is what's right, but fuck what's right. Fuck what's right if And this is not about what's right. This is about fucking an eye for an eye. Um, you know, this is talking about, standing up for yourself and, you know, it's subjective what's right anyway. Standing up for yourself doesn't sound exactly wrong, does it? The worst thing you could do is nothing. I mean, I guess it's kind of black and white. It's either hate or love, so it's either. Um, the worst thing you could do is not care about yourself, you know? I don't know. I think it's either just hate or love, really. It's kind of just black and white. Um, I don't know. Can't think of irrelevant things, really. But that's just all I wanted to say. I stand by exactly what I said. And people are going to have a problem with it because, like, most people don't have any self respect. Most people, well, I say you don't have any self respect. Most people are not in that situation. That's kind of what it comes down to. If you're not in somebody's situation, you know, you only understand it from your experience of life. To some people, they hear that shit and they think that's fucking barbaric. And yeah, it is barbaric, but it's not wrong, you know. Um, um, I'm telling you how I feel, and like I say, it's a situation thing. Um, if you're not going through what I'm going through, to you it sounds like you could just say you could label me as a bad person, an evil person, because that's what people do when they don't understand something. They label this person as evil and bad, um, just because you don't understand it. But you're not, you know, you're going through what you're going through in your life, and I'm going through what I'm going through in my life. Um, you see someone beat the shit out of somebody, and you automatically think that person's in the wrong, you know. And they're more than likely probably are, because most people they kind of like, um, they're very immature, and it's like you've got to really look at something like, um, um, is this, are you being childish about things? Is it coming from a strong place or is it coming from a weak place? Because if you're acting, if it's coming from a weak place, you're being like a child about it. That's kind of like when some random person online just sends you a nasty message for no reason. They say, you know, you you're a dickhead or whatever, and like the weak thing would be to like hate them back, and the reason why it'd be weak is because it's kind of childish because you don't really care. I mean, you care to a point. You don't really. I mean, if it's just a fucking stranger just saying that shit, it's just like who cares? Who gives a fuck? If you start caring about that shit, that's kind of where it's childish because it's just like you could just ignore them because they're not really worth it. You know. Um, but not even coming from that place of like they're not worth it. It's just coming from a place of just like, mm, I don't know. Maybe if someone calls you a dickhead, you probably it's probably kind of childish, but it's not even childish. I mean, because it's just like whatever, because it's just that they're an asshole. But if they make a comment and it's just like, um, if they're hateful in such a way where it's like maybe they're coming across as like hateful, but it's not. You can kind of just tell that it's more like just the way they talk. I don't know how to explain it. It's just the way they are. It's not really anything personal. Do you know what I mean? Then it would be like childish to like hate on that person, um, and to like, you know what I mean? Because like hating them back is just like it's childish because it's like, you know, it's not personal, but you're just fucking being a fucking little bitch about it. Um, you know, uh, you're kind of just like just being sulky for the sake of it because you just think it's funny to fucking hurt people. Uh, you know what I mean? Um, I think that's a good example. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really, you know, but I do know there have been times. You'll know there's times in your life where it's just like you're being childish about things. Uh, sometimes hate is childish. Um, so it's either childish or it's coming from a strong place. And if it's coming from a strong place, which is probably rare that it's coming from a strong place, um, but like if it is ever coming from a strong place, that's kind of like where it's like, it's right. It's right to do that shit morally. Um, so if you're gonna hate someone, make sure it's coming from a strong place and not a childish place. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. All right, bye.